Hope every veteran warriors of India is aware about ECHS, the short form of Ex-Servicemen Contributory Health Scheme. This is a true story about the challenges a decorated retired officer faced and how he was able to overcome those challenges. Hope this information would be useful to all veteran warriors of India. This valuable presentation is by veteran air warrior K. MURALEEDHARAN.
Today, we've got a really powerful story. It's about a decorated Army officer who, after serving his country for more than 2 decades, found himself in a literal fight for his life. But what's really incredible is that his first battle was just the beginning. The second one, against his own healthcare provider, was just around the corner. So, it really makes you wonder, right? What happens when the very system that's designed to protect you, to have your back, fails you in your absolute darkest hour? That's the question at the heart of Lieutenant Colonel Anil Kumar's story. He put his trust in the system, especially for a medical emergency. Let's see what happened when that trust was put to the ultimate test. So meet LT Colonel Anil Kumar. After 22 years of dedicated service, he did what thousands of other ex-servicemen do. He paid into the ECHS, the Ex-Servicemen Contributory Health Scheme. He believed this was his healthcare safety net for retirement, and why wouldn't he? But in January of 2015, that safety net was about to be tested like never before. I mean, 1 minute things are normal, he's at a work meeting, and the next, he's at a fight for his life. And just look at how fast this all happened. It's truly terrifying. On January 5th, he collapses. The very next day, he gets this devastating diagnosis, a dangerous form of cancer. A few days after that, he's wheeled into a massive 18-hour surgery. And the aftermath? Wow. 39 days in the ICU, battling severe bleeding, even falling into a coma more than once. This wasn't just an emergency. It was an absolute life-or-death crisis.
And then comes the bill. A staggering 10,34,930 rupees. I mean, can you even imagine? He had to pull together this astronomical sum by taking out loans, even pledging his family's gold, all while he's supposed to be recovering from this incredibly traumatic medical ordeal. It's just unbelievable.
So you'd think after surviving all that, the worst was over, right? Well, not exactly. Lieutenant Colonel Anil Kumar submitted his claim to the ECHS, hoping for the reimbursement he was totally entitled to. Instead, he walked straight into his next battle. And this one was with bureaucracy. And the response he got back, it's just baffling. ECHS flat out denied his claim. And the reason, get this, they called his life-saving emergency operation a planned treatment. I mean, a planned treatment? It's a really shocking decision, especially when you consider everything he had just been through. And this slide really lays out the contradiction perfectly. On one side, you've got the reality of the situation, a sudden collapse, an emergency diagnosis. But on the other side, you have the official reason from the central office, calling it planned. What's even crazier is that the local ECHS Joint Director looked at the case and strongly recommended it, calling it genuine and an emergency. And yet the central office still rejected the claim. So, with basically no other option, Lieutenant Colonel Anil Kumar took his fight to the Armed Forces Tribunal. This is where that official rejection was about to go under a serious legal microscope. And let me tell you, the tribunal did not mince words. In their verdict, they delivered this incredibly powerful statement, saying reasoning is the soul of an order. What they're basically saying is that a decision made without clear, logical reasoning is totally invalid in the eyes of the law. They called the ECHS rejection order cryptic and found that it lacked any real thought or justification. The tribunal just systematically picked apart the ECHS's whole argument. First, they pointed out the obvious. The diagnosis happened after he was rushed to the hospital, so how on earth could it have been pre-planned? Then they stated another fact. Removing a cancerous growth isn't elective. It's absolutely essential to save a life. And maybe most importantly, his post-surgery complications were so severe that it would have been dangerous to even try and move him. Their conclusion? The rejection was passed without application of mind. A total takedown. So the final outcome was a complete victory for the officer. The tribunal ordered the ECHS to pay the full amount of that hospital bill. After such a long and exhausting fight, justice was finally served. Okay, so the officer's whole ordeal raises a really important question for all of us. What are the actual rules here? How is the ECHS system supposed to work in emergencies like this? Well, the answers are all laid out right here in the official ECHS handbook. See, the system isn't supposed to be arbitrary. There are very specific rules and procedures that are meant to be followed, and they're designed to prevent exactly what happened to Lieutenant Colonel Alcomar. Now, one of the key terms you've got to understand in this whole story is non-empaneled hospital. It sounds complicated, but it just means a hospital that isn't on the ECHS pre-approved list for cashless treatment. Usually you can't get treatment there and have it covered. But, and this is the important part, the rules make a very clear exception for emergencies. And this is the correct procedure, right out of the ECHS guidelines. It's actually pretty straightforward. Step 1, and this is the most important thing, get life-saving treatment. The patient's health is always the #1 priority. Step 2, you have to let your ECHS polyclinic know within 48 hours. And finally, step 3, you submit the claim with all your paperwork within 90 days. That's it. That's the simple process that should have been followed from the start. So this whole case gives us some really clear, actionable takeaways for all ECHS members out there. Here's what we can all learn from this officer's incredible fight. Okay, so here are the key lessons. First, that 48-hour notification window, it is absolutely critical. Even just a phone call to get the ball rolling is a huge help. Second, document everything. I mean, every single bill, every report, every piece of communication. Keep it all. Third, know the rules yourself. Understand the difference between planned and emergency treatment so you can advocate for yourself. And remember, as we saw here, a rejection isn't always the final word. You can challenge the system. And finally, that recommendation from your local director, it can be an incredibly powerful piece of evidence, just like it was in this case. And all of this really brings us to one final big question. Does this case show a system that ultimately works? Or does it show a system that required an extraordinary, exhausting legal fight just to deliver on its most basic promise? On the one hand, hey, the officer won, so the appeals process did its job. But on the other, should a veteran who is recovering from a near-death experience have to go to a tribunal just to get the healthcare coverage he was promised all along? It's definitely something to think about.